Washte me cola. Yeah, it's thunder. Shaved off the old mustache, in case you didn't notice. Probably didn't notice I had one in the first place. Why? Eating through it got to be too much of a strain. I don't know. Change, I guess. Planetary changes, man. That's what did it. I swear this last weekend was phenomenal as far as the sunspot thing, in case anybody wasn't paying any attention to that either. We had some major X-class, not major, we had some X-class flares from the sun, and I just got done talking about that in my previous video. And they're pretty gnarly, you know, when you take a look at the pictures of the sun and these X-class flares that come off of them. I mean, well, let's put it in perspective. If you put our Earth next to an X-class flare, it would be like putting a BB next to a basketball. Just the flare itself, we'd be gone in seconds. And a couple of those puppies spit out some flares from that sunspot that's now facing the Earth, and could spit out more. If we ever get up to an 8 or a 10, you can expect, you know, the video here and all the stuff to just go fry, zzz, gone. Because that's what'll happen. God, I hope me talking about it doesn't bring that on. But people feel it in their bodies. I mean, I felt it in my body. It was like I was on edge. I was like, geez, man, what is this? And some people say they got headaches and been having headaches for a week. Well, it goes to figure that if the moon has an effect on people, surely these gigantic sunspots that are spitting out from the sun, flailing out from the sun and hitting the Earth with storms and causing, you know, aurora borealis effects all around the Earth. So I thought maybe I'll name this video Planetary Changes. I might talk about some other things. But there's planetary and cosmos, changes in the cosmos happening. Oh, but did you hear? I mean, I don't know if I told you this, but now the experts are admitting that, yes, there is an uptick or whatever in earthquake activity and volcanic activity. Usually they would never admit anything like that. Oh, it's pretty much the same as it's always been, or one earthquake doesn't affect another, or bullshit. And now they're finally coming out and saying it. So I've been watching that volcano in Hawaii, because I lived there. I flew there for a while. That Kilauea. It's been in the orange category, which is elevated, and it just keeps on coming. The lava keeps taking over towns, and it's not really even erupting. I mean, it's just kind of have a lava flow. If that thing was to ever blow again, the whole Hawaiian island chain might be gone, or it might be just rained down in ashes or whatever. People don't realize that you know, that Mother Earth feels everything that's going on here, even the lying and that intelligence permeates us all, right? And so it feels machinations, I'm sure of it. It feels negative thoughts. Shit, plants can feel negative thoughts. They did an experiment one time where they hooked up some electrodes to a plant, and just the guy thinking about cutting off a leaf or limb or something off the plant, cause it to go into distress. So you don't think that, and this is a proven fact, there was experimental studies done on it, you don't think that the planet feels what's going on, intentions of the people walking around on it, what they intend to do and what they are doing? If you don't think that Mother Earth and nature and has an intelligence far beyond what we can imagine and knows exactly what's going on, you're living in la-la land. You're not in tune with nature. You're not in tune with the spirit that moves in all things. And what if it decides, hey, they're getting ready to kind of nuke us or nuke the planet here? What do we do? Well, no telling what'll happen. I'm feeling like there's a lot of stuff happening on a planetary level, and it doesn't help that we're doing all this shale mining. They call it fracking. I call it blowing the fuck out of the earth. And pumping chemical waters. They pump chemically laced, I'll get that out, waters down into the crust of the earth, and to expand and look for oil and blah bitty blah blah blah. Of course, half the time you don't know if they're doing that or if they're just blowing up caverns down deep inside to create bunkers, to create underground cities for the elite to go to. It is said that there are some, whatever they're doing, they're blowing up the earth. And they also store, like, I don't know whatever happened to that Bayou Corn sinkhole. That was just blacked out completely, but that sucker got to be huge. Got to be huge. I don't know what happened to that, if anybody knows what happened, but it's probably too big to report on now, but it was sucking everything down, and it was because they stored oil and caustic chemicals in these huge underground caverns, and it just ate away and it just sank. Bayou Corn, Louisiana, it just opened up acres and acres of a hole. I don't know what's going on with that. All of a sudden that just like disappeared off the radar. But that was near the New Madrid Fault, which, if anybody knows anything about the New Madrid Fault, well, that they had huge earthquakes there at one time back in, what, 1813, 1810, I don't know, somewhere back around there. And that's prone for another, the stuff they're doing actually causes many earthquakes. Anytime you frack or you do any of that stuff, the greed for oil, the greed for the black gold, so it can support the petrodollar, which is what our dollar is based on. If we don't have a petrodollar or a dollar or anything that we can base our currency on, we're shit out of luck, and we're basically out of luck anyway, because they're not telling us a good deal of what's going on with the financial thing. By all accounts, it's on the verge of collapse. There was supposed to be an October surprise, some of the guys were talking about on the internet. Hunter and I think it was Manarino, somebody. That hasn't come yet. What's the October surprise? That there is no surprise? I said about a month ago that I give it about 6 months. I can see into the future, unfortunately. Things seem quiet now, though. You know, that's so weird because it's almost like a tape loop, you know. It's a tape loop, this news thing. It's like, what do they put on reruns all the time and just change the words to protect the innocent? Or the Ukrainian thing and the ISIS thing, and then it dies down. You don't hear about it from the Ebola thing, but it's all still going on, supposedly. And then you hear such varying and different stories about elections and about... It's like, I don't know, to me it seems like everything changes, but everything stays the same. I don't know. Is that a saying? Everything changes, but it all stays the same. It's the same old corrupt system. But I think we should keep an eye on this planetary thing. I mean, God knows there's enough going on the political level that's just disastrous, and on the financial level, we got elections and this and that, and it's like they ramp stuff up during elections and shit. They just ramp stuff up against each other, you know. Government's always been corrupt, though. It's always been corrupt. I keep thinking about this thing I said about intention the other day, and how we can maybe try to put the intention or thought out there that the planet changes, or that the world changes, or that we change the worldview through our consciousness. I keep working on that, people. I keep trying to make things happen, or let things happen, by projecting certain thoughts. I work with it. I don't know if anybody else does, but I'm kind of rambling on. Some people said they don't mind me rambling. Somebody asked me to do a Lakota video. I will eventually. I've done all kinds of Lakota videos. I've talked about Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull and the council and the different secret councils and the Fetterman incident, and I've talked about so many things with the Lakota people because they're one of my favorite people, like the Apaches, and I know more of their language than I do other tribal languages. I've done a lot of stuff on it, you know, but maybe I'll do a comprehensive thing and put it all together in one video. I just can't believe that things are operating the way they are, like in a tape loop fashion. Because things get really heated up, and then they, you know, maybe this is probably just part of the plan that gets people used to, you know, being complacent. You know, keep rerunning the same thing over and over until it just becomes, I mean, everything. I mean, you could say that, you know, the moon was going to collide with the Earth, and if you ran it enough times, people would just go, oh yeah, the moon's going to collide with the Earth, yeah. I don't know, maybe they wouldn't, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, you run stuff enough times and it just becomes old news, and you just want to ignore it, or it doesn't have the shock value, or the, you know, the let's think about this effect, you know. Thing is just because it calms down, like right now it's a little calm, maybe calmer than it's been in a while, except for that sunstorm we just had. But just because things calm down doesn't mean that you think that it's all over. We're just relaxed now. Here comes winter and Christmas and the holidays and singing the Christmas carols and listen to the friggin' Christmas advertisements and the Christmas songs, and talk about tape loops. Geez, you realize how many of those I've heard in my lifetime? Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. I never really celebrated Christmas, to be truthful with you. A couple times maybe. I don't know. Depended on who I was with. I'd usually do it to please the woman. Let's celebrate Christmas. Let's get a tree. Okay. Who's going to take the tree out after it's Christmas? Oh, well. And what about all those trees that get chopped down just for some stupid holiday? That's fun, isn't it? And then they end up in dumpsters and, oh my God, what has this society come to? Gotta laugh at it, really. I'm not going to make this video that long. I'm just making a short appearance. I just got a feeling. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I decided to come on here today. I just got some kind of feeling that something planetary. I don't know what. Maybe it's the sunspots. Maybe it's... God, we've been having all kinds of volcanoes. We've been having all kinds of weird weather. Thank God in San Diego it's starting to get cooler. A little. But we're in a severe drought. That's another thing. Planetary conditions are pretty... people become complacent about shit. Let's talk about the drought a second, because 2/3 of the United States, they got all these color-coded areas, and it shows about 2/3 of the United States, and especially California, Arizona, the Southwest, huge drought, not enough rain at all. All the water is dissipating. Water can live 3 days without it. They're cutting rations off to the farmers. It looks like the friggin' Dust Bowl. I saw some pictures of people living out in Fresno and all these hot places. And a lot of people that are working and have shanty towns out there. And not just Mexican laborers, but poor white people too. Frying out there, laying out, trying to get some air. Dust everywhere. Crops dying. No water. And then in the Four Corners area up and around Flagstaff even. And it's been that way for a while, people. Now guess what happens when you have all these droughts? The food, you know how much food they grow in California? Have you ever been up to like Salinas, where John Steinbeck wrote about the grapes of wrath, and that area up there, Salinas, and parts of Northern California and Central California especially, acres and acres and hundreds of acres of farmland. Things like lettuce and greens and all kinds of shit. It's in danger now of not producing. And the farmers, when you start cutting farmers' water, that's dangerous, because then they can't grow food, and guess what we eat, people? Food. So, you know, the water shortages are there, big time. I don't know what's happening, and then there's some kind of, they say that I think on the Arctic pole, the ice cap is growing incredibly fast and thick, and then on the other pole, there is nothing. So we're definitely going through some changes on the planet, and you know, the planet and the people on it are all one, just like the native tribes have said for many, many eons. We're all one, man. The Corn Mother, the Hopi have the Corn Mother, and the Corn Mother is the one that brings the goodness to the people on the planet. We're the ones that, you know, it represents food, represents nurturing. So things are dicey. I was talking to a friend yesterday about, yeah, we need to get a log cabin somewhere and get up in Colorado or somewhere, Canada, anywhere. Get away from the cities. You can have your electric stove, but you better get a wood-burning stove too. And you better know how to live off the land, and you better store up some food until you can learn how to, like, go out and hunt and, you know, pull jerky and learn how to butcher animals. And unless you're just going to be a vegetarian, which is cool too, but I mean, if there's no water, it's dicey, people. And I feel like there's a lull right now. I feel kind of like we're in the eye of the hurricane. And that wall is like that shit storm is a-coming, is going to hit us. I don't want to be doom and gloom now, but just seems too quiet right now on all fronts. Not that anything has gotten any better or less intense, it's just that I'm feeling like there's kind of a lull, and lulls make me sit up and take notice, because I know that after a lull some hardcore stuff can come down. So, you know, talked a little bit about the planetary thing today. Hope I covered it all. Let's see. Volcanoes, no rain, weird weather, drought, them admitting that, yes, things are changing. I don't know, man. And it seems like, I don't know if I said this before, but it seems like the intensity of the natural environment coincides with the intensity of this illusory reality that we live in the world, as I call it, the world of mankind, which is separate from, in perception only, separate from the natural world, but it's really one. I mean, it's really one. One affects the other, just like I said before when they did the experiment on the plants. But it seems separate, doesn't it? It seems like, yeah, we go out in the world and we have our fun and we do this and we do that. At least some people have fun. I don't know about me. The most fun I have is waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night. Some nights I wish I had somebody to cuddle up with. I use the pillow. Anyway, people, just getting this video out to let you know I'm still around, still kicking. I don't know. I just feel something in the wind, you know? I feel something in the wind. Something is in the wind here. Can't put my finger on it. As soon as I do, I'll let you know, because I get visions, but sometimes I just get feelings, feelings like, ugh, something is in the wind, baby. And that's what I'm feeling, planetary changes and something in the wind. Something's in the wind. I don't know, it could be soon, but like I said, a month ago, like within 6 months, expect something. I mean, we've had big things happen already. I mean, if I wanted to say I was right about that, I could say I was right about any number of things, at least 5 things that I mentioned that came true, happened. It's almost scary thinking about this, because it's almost like you make it happen when you think about it. But I'm looking for some kind of relief, some kind of like rubber band effect where it's tension and relief, tension and release, tension and relief, tension and release, that type of thing. I don't want to think there's something big coming. I really don't, as far as disastrous, but because who wants to live under oppressive situations in any form, whether it be doing without what we're used to or whatever, trying to make that change to doing without certain things that we become reliable, or that we rely upon, that become reliable to us, I guess is what I meant to say. We rely on things that may not be here anymore. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there today. If you can help with the Campfire Council, going through some changes right now, trying to keep that going. It's a vehicle, non-profit. Go to the website. It's below in the notes, the show notes. Until then, happy trails to you. Later.